Hello and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Today we'll be covering another formation from the Montcast supplement. We'll be going over the Emperor's Wrath Artillery Company. Now when the Montcast supplement was first released, or first leaked I should say, because a lot of people know what's in books these days before they're even released. You know, that's the wonder of the internet. But anyway, let's not get distracted. When this supplement was first released and people finally got to have a look at some decent guard formations, there was a lot of excitement around the Emperor's Wrath Artillery Company, and it seems to have died off a little bit, but I'll go through the formation and then I'll explain why people were excited, and then I'll cover why they may not be as excited about it anymore. Okay, so what does the formation consist of? Well, it is a company command squad, and then you must take 2 units chosen in any combination from the following list: a Basilisk battery, a Hydra battery, or a Wyvern battery. You must then also choose 1 unit from the following list: a Manticore or a Deathstrike. You must then also include 1 to 3 engine seers. Okay? Now, the restrictions for this formation, because there are actually some, is the company command squad must take a Chimera or Taurox as a dedicated transport. Now, the bonuses for taking this formation there are 2. Artillery command. The company commander from this formation can issue the Smite at Will, Suppressive Fire, and Fire on my target orders to units of vehicles from this formation. Units of vehicles from this formation count as having a leadership characteristic of 8 for the purposes of seeing whether the order has been understood. And the second bonus, second buff, is once per turn in your shooting phase, 1 friendly model equipped with a Voxcaster can call in target coordinates. Choose an enemy unit within 18 inches and in line of sight of that model. Until the end of the phase, models from this formation count their weapons as twin-linked when firing at that enemy unit. So 2 very good buffs. So now we know what we have to take, and now we know the bonuses. Let's cover how we should take this formation. And starting with the company command squad, you've got to put it in a Chimera. And you can issue orders from a Chimera, fortunately, because it's... Well, actually, you don't have to put it in a Chimera. You can put it in a Taurox, I should say that. You can put it in a Taurox, but how you want to run it is in a Chimera. The reason you want to run it in a Chimera is because the Chimera has the command vehicle special rule, which allows you to issue orders from within inside its hull. Because normally you're not allowed to issue orders or do anything practically from within inside a vehicle. So you don't ever want to take the Taurox. Ever. So take the Chimera number 1. War gear for your formation for the command squad. I would go with the standard loadout, although you may be able to get away with not taking a regimental standard in this company command squad. You maybe can save some points. Maybe you might want to put a las cannon in there, and then maybe some other kind of special weapon, or two special weapons of some kind. But I would recommend just 2. Your command squad is going to be in your Chimera 99% of the time, so I would just save yourself some points and just take 2 heavy / special weapons, because you can only fire 2 out of the top hatch. You know, take advantage of the extra ballistic skill. So I would always say, you know, a couple of melter guns, or a las cannon and a melter gun, or a las cannon and a plasma gun. Something that takes advantage of that ballistic skill for. Yeah. There's no need for the Voxcaster on the command squad here, because your command squad is normally going to be quite far away. So you're not going to be within that 18 inches you need for target sighted, the second buff. But just remember that it's any friendly model with a Voxcaster. That means friendly models outside of the formation. So I wouldn't give yourself a Voxcaster for the company command squad. Now, equipment for the commander, really, really important. There's one piece of equipment you must take with this formation, and I don't name it the Pimp Cane, but its actual name is Volkov's Cane, and that is one of the heirlooms of Cadia, so you need the Montcalm book to know what this is, or to you can obviously go on the internet as well. But Volkov's Cane, it is 10 points. It's an heirloom, which means you can only have one, and it's described as a distinctly crafted swagger stick, aka a pimp cane. Let's be honest. Now, the pimp cane does count as a strength user AP4 melee concussive weapon, so it's kind of like a weak power maul. Power maul, yeah. Power staff, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't give you the strength, it's only AP4, but you're not taking it for that. You're not taking it for the AP4. You're taking it because when a model carrying Volkov's Cane issues an order to a unit within 6 inches, the leadership test will only fail on a roll of double 6. So before, you had to issue orders to your vehicles in leadership 8. Now, you can issue them on basically leadership 11. Wow. You have to take that for this formation. You have to. Okay, that is literally non-negotiable. So you've got your Chimera with a heavy weapon and a special weapon, sitting back, plinking away, and you're issuing orders out the top on leadership 11. Fantastic. Now, 2 units chosen in any combination for the following list: Basilisk, Hydra, or Wyvern. Okay? Let me tell you now, you don't want Wyverns. Okay? And I'll tell you why. Because Wyverns already ignore cover, and they're already pinning, so you don't need suppressive fire or fire on my target. You don't need those orders to issue to them. And they're already twin linked, so you don't need the target sighted to make the Wyvern twin linked. So you don't need that. Basilisks, yes. I would be tempted to take, at a very minimum, 2 individual Basilisks as part of this formation. You can make this formation with 2 individual Basilisks. But surprisingly, I would consider instead taking 2 Basilisks as part of a squadron or battery, and then maybe this is if you want to flesh it out. Maybe consider a Hydra battery as well. Now, I'll explain that in a little bit, but you definitely want to take Basilisks. Basilisks first, Hydra as your secondary option. Wyverns, no. And then you also have to take a unit chosen from the following list: Manticore, Deathstrike. Well, I've covered Deathstrikes and Manticores in one of my other videos. The Deathstrike is poo. The Manticore is good-ish. Out of the 2 you have to take the fucking Manticore, okay? Engine Seer, you've got to take one of them. I would only take one. You're not really going to benefit from the Engine Seer's power of Machine Spirit rule. He's already attacked, so you don't really want to be buying him services so he can repair things. Artillery is so fragile anyway that when something shoots at it, it's probably not going to have any hull points left. It's probably going to be dead. That's like, most of your stuff's open topped. It's armor 12 on the front, 10 on the sides. The way you keep this formation protected is through bubble wrap and by keeping it really fucking far back. Do not be doing a cavalry charge with a fucking Basilisk. Let's put it that way, okay? Now, let me explain why you want to be taking Basilisks, Hydras, and Manticores. So quick recap. So we know the buffs. We know what we have to take. The recommended loadout is Company Commander in a Chimera, so we can issue orders with the Pimp Cane, so he's issuing orders to the artillery on Leadership 11 rather than Leadership 8. You then want to be taking, well, just for the sake of argument, let's say you've gone for a fleshed out version of this formation. 2 Basilisks in a battery, 2 Hydras in a battery, and then a Manticore, with the caveat that the Hydras are an optional upgrade, shall we say. And then you want to have a single Engine Seer and no upgrades in any of those. No upgrades on any of those vehicles or on the engine seer, and minimal upgrades on the company command squad. Because this formation is pretty fragile and it's pretty expensive. So at this point, it's entirely up to you whether you want to start paying for enclosed crew compartments and camo netting for your vehicles. Personally, you know my rule, guys. Save the points and spend them on more shit. You know, spend them on more stuff. Now, let me explain why people were getting sticky knickers, getting super excited over this formation. It was the Basilisks. It was the combination of the Basilisks and being able to order the Basilisks to have fire on my target. Because that meant that you had ignores cover Basilisks. Straight up ignores cover. No barrage shenanigans trying to get it around the back of the cover. Just straight up ignores cover. Strength 9, AP 3. And rightly so, you know, people saw this as being super powerful, and it is. It is very powerful, because let me explain what an ignores cover Basilisks can suddenly do. With twin linked, let's assume it's got twin linked. Don't forget, you can either twin link it using prescience, or you could twin link it using target sighted. The you know, if you're within 18 inches of a Voxcaster, right? Let's say you're facing Eldar, jet bike spam. Am I right? You would normally fire your Basilisk or battle cannon or something similar at the jet bike, and your opponent would jink, and then your opponent's on a 4-up save, maybe a 3-up jink. You know, 4-ups. I think it's a 4-up jink for Eldar, and suddenly he's only taken a few casualties. Now, as long as you don't get any ones to wound, he's dead. This formation, you could happily wipe out a couple of scat pack squads a turn. It's not bad. Or a couple of scat packs, I should say. Scat pack squads. What about the other function of it is your twin linked. You don't really need fire on my target for this, but let's say you're facing an Imperial Knight and you fire some las cannons and some other bits at his front arc. So he puts his ion shield on the front. Suddenly you fire this formation at him, and barrage, don't forget, read the barrage rules, guys. It says when resolving hits against vehicles, you resolve the hits against their side armour with barrage weapons. Hello. That suddenly means that my Basilisk, even though your iron shield was on the front, my Basilisk hits your side armour, so no iron shield save. And don't forget, Basilisk, or the Earthshaker cannon on the Basilisk, it's an ordnance weapon. 2d6, pick the highest. Manticore. All this shit applies to the Manticore as well. Imagine if you got a Manticore rocket off, and you got the 6 on the D3, which meant you got 3 strength 10 templates. 3 strength 10 templates. You could, you know, 2d6 pick the highest side arc. You're almost guaranteed to get 3 hull points off a knight in one go. And you twin link, so you ain't going to scatter. You know, you're probably not going to scatter. Really powerful. So, you know, and that's talking about super competitive things. You know, like knights and scatter bikes. You know, rightly so. But you know, just things like your basic tactical marines. Normally you'd fire your Basso shell, those tactical marines that are in some cover, and you wouldn't kill all that many because you'd scatter off, and you know, then they'd get you know, they could go to ground into ruins for a 3-up cover save. You know, suddenly none of that happens. It's you hit because you know you're going to be likely to hit because you've got your twin linking potentially. You know, you can only do it once a turn, but potentially twin linking, and then you know, no cover saves, bam, wipe out. You know, with a couple of Basilisks, you could wipe out a squad of tactical marines pretty easily, which could change the game. Obviously, could really change the name of the game. So it's a versatile formation. It can handle anything from super competitive, well, competitive to super competitive, and it can, you know, it's pretty fluffy as well. So no one's really going to complain too much about using it in a friendly-ish game. So Basilisk is what got everyone excited. Manticores are what got people excited because, you know, it meant your Manticore could... Well, Manticores were always gonna... Manticores aren't really affected by this formation, but at least it means with your Manticore, you've only got 4 rockets, right? So if, you know, without this formation, you could do a big scatter and just completely waste one of your rockets, one of your Storm Eagles. With this, twin linking, you're less likely to waste one of your finite shots on your Manticore. So it's good. Now, why did I mention Hydras? Okay. Because Hydras are already twin linked, so they're not really going to benefit from the target sighted. That's good. That's really good. Because that means you don't have to, you know, worry about wasting your, you know, your target sighted. Because your Hydras can shoot at one thing and your Basilisks can use target sighted on another thing. Hydras are good because they're designed for killing flyers, and if you know you're going to face flyers, what's the number one thing that always saves a flyer's ass? Jink. That goddamn 4-up cover save. I swear to God, whenever my opponent jinks it, it feels like he's got a 2-up cover save because the amount of times he makes it. I'm sure you've all been in that boat. You know, yes, I've got eight glances on your flyer. You know, you're definitely dead. Even if you make statistically half of them, you've lost your flyer. Oh look, there you go. It's made 7 out of 8. We've all had that stupid jinky bullshit happen to us. With this, you just tell your flyer, oh, fire my target. Ignores cover. Ignores jink. All those, you know, it's not going to affect scatter bikes too much. But when you're seeing things like the Spaceman formation, where you get 2 Storm Talons and a Storm Raven, any Tau and Eldar vehicle, you know, they love to jink. Tau love to jink their Piranhas, which have all the drone. You know, there's the formation which I haven't talked about yet that the Tau get, where their drones just permanently respawn from their Piranhas. Well, guess what? Piranhas ain't jinking anymore. Drones ain't jinking anymore. You just cut them down. It's really good. So Hydras get an honourable mention because a lot of people go off the Fordwood Hydras that let you buy ignores cover as an upgrade, blah blah blah. Now you get it for free in this formation. So there you go. So that's what we've covered. We've covered what the formation is, why people got excited about it, how I would run it, and you know, how to think a little bit outside of the box. Because a lot of people will just ignore Hydra straight up. You know, I would say if you're paying in 1850, I'd take the Hydras because you've got the extra points. If you're playing 1500 and below and you want to run this formation, I would just take it bare bones. 1 company command squad and a Chimera, 1 Basilisk plus 1 Basilisk in 2 separate batteries, and then 1 Manticore and engines here. If you've got the extra points, make sure you get those Hydras in there. They won't let you down. So, yeah. Very quickly, why is this formation's popularity dropped off? Why is it that everyone was super excited? A lot of people say this is making Guard competitive again. This is bringing us back into the forefront. A lot of those enthusiasts that were saying those things have quietened off and aren't saying that anymore. There's a very good reason. One is a big shift, and one is an obvious just disadvantage. So the formation itself has a couple of disadvantages, straight up. 1, assault-based armies that are going to be in your face, in your grill. They're just going to, you know, you're going to get 1 round of shooting off for your artillery's probably not going to be able to shoot without risk of hitting your own guys. 2, invisible Death Stars don't give a shit about this, unless you're playing ITC, where a lot of the time it's FAQ to Ballistic Skill 1. But invisible Death Stars, this formation is useless against them. If you're playing rules as written, this formation is useless against them. Skyhammer, Skyhammer, one of the most popular formations out there at the moment. This formation is useless against it. You know, this formation, they'll just Skyhammer in and kill you. So, you know, it's got some obvious disadvantages. Oh, Tau, Riptide spam. Apart from the Death Strike, none of these things are going to break through the Tau's 2+ armor save. And, you know, it can be good at killing vehicles, but at the end of the day, none of these None of the choices here, apart from again the Death Strike, which is a waste of time, is AP 1 or 2. So you're only going to be chipping hull points off. You know, one Basilisk shell, chipping a hull point off, or you know, a hell of a lot of autocannon shells. You know, you've got these obvious disadvantages. The other major disadvantage is, and I'm only going to say this very quickly, is the meta, the overall competitive tournament meta at the moment is really shifting away actually from mass shooting, and it's becoming a lot more assault based. You're seeing things like Wolfenstar, Wolfstar, a lot of the new stuff that's coming out of the Traitor Tactical League, the World Eaters. There's a lot of stuff out there which can do a turn 1 charge. Okay, a hell of a lot of stuff out there which can do a turn 1 charge. And because of this ability for all these formations and buffs that can do these turn 1 charges, and you've honestly, 7th edition and 6th edition started out as major shooting editions, and now it's starting to get balanced out where a lot of the really powerful Death Stars are all close combat based. I mean, think of actual Death Star units. You know, it's Wolfenstar, it's Wolfstar, it's Screamer Star, it's Dog Star. They're all these. How they work is they get up in your face and tear you to shreds. And let me tell you now, a lot of those Death Stars rely on invisibility. But I'm not going to repeat myself. What I'm trying to show here is the meta is starting to shift towards assault being really viable again. I'm going to actually do a video. I might call it something like Birth of a New Death Star, because some of the stuff that you can see coming out in the Traitor Legion supplement, which is coming out on Saturday, so in 2 days' time, it's really melee focused, and it's a really good example of how the meta is shifting away, and how overwhelming firepower, yes, is really good, but assault is making a comeback in a big way. That's the topic of another video. That's just to sum up. The formation is very powerful. It's relatively cheap. It's relatively flexible. You can take any sort of combinations. We've seen which ones we recommend. I've told you some must-haves. You must have the Pimp Cane. You must have Basilisks. You must have a Manticore. And after that, it's, you know, pick and choose what you want. But there are some obvious disadvantages. So, you know, this is... How would I rate this formation? I would say it is semi-competitive. Because whilst it's incredibly powerful, it does have some Achilles heels issues. It has an Achilles heel, and therefore it can't ever be super competitive because it's not a take-all-comers formation. So I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.